dude, when you're broke, buying rental properties is stupid. Like these people who try to like build their portfolio, but they have no money and they're broke. I'm like, why? Like the most important thing you could do today is like fix your current situation. Start making some active income. Don't worry about the long game right now. And so that was my mindset. I'm like, let's flip, let's make some active income, and I'll worry about buying rentals down the road.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. I feel like Bigger Pockets pushes a lot of this stuff. It's like,
yeah,
get in real estate investing. It's all about the passive income, financial independence, reduce your expenses and go retire and live on the beach because you got a few properties and they're gonna pay for your living expenses. But it's like, dude, you're gonna get bored pretty quick. One, but number two is like, dude, how many properties are you gonna need to buy and sink 20% into in order to kind of reach that?
Where do you get the 20%?
Yeah,
but even for me, I think it was 25 or 26 years old when I was 25 when that happened. And I started listening to the podcast because I'd never understood this. And it was very early on. So I started from episode 1 and I caught up. So that was my training. I would literally pick up and deliver couches all day and listen to the podcast. And so I listened about like 3 or 4 podcasts a day and so I learned in a month. I caught up in a month and I was like, I get it. But I also don't agree with these people. Because, they'd have a lot of rental guys and multifamily guys and all this stuff. And I just remember sitting there thinking, as a guy who didn't have much money, I was like, why would I want a rental property that makes $200 a month? Why wouldn't I just flip it and make $25,000? This makes no sense. And they're like, you don't get it, Ryan. You got to have long-term wealth. And I was like, no, I can build long-term wealth at any point. Like I don't need to do it today, And that's why when people ask me, they'll say, do you regret selling any of your flips? Like, do you wish you had held them? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like I had to flip them to make money and build a life. And then, I'm going to buy thousands of rentals the rest of my life now because of what I did.
Dude, you're so right about that. And I think the perfect example is this for the listeners. It's like, if you buy a property, you improve the value, and now you had $1 million of equity, you can sell this property and take $1 million profit. Or let's say this property would cash flow, let's say $50,000 a year, and you can hold it long term. And people are like, oh, like, why are you going to sell it? Why don't you just hold it and take the $50,000 of cash flow? It's like, well, I can sell and take the $1 million profit. If I cash flow this thing, it would take me 20 years of $50,000 a year in cash flow just to break even.
Bro, so dumb.
Think about that. 20 years is a long time, man.
Well, let me add another point to this. Is I get a lot of people who ask me, they're like, well, what about my taxes? I need to buy rentals to lower my taxes. I'm like, you don't make money. Why are you worried about your taxes?
Yeah.
They're like, I paid 10 grand last year. I'm like, dude, let's worry about your active income. If you paid 10 grand last year, you don't have a tax problem.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. So it's like, figure out a way to increase the active income. And then once you're paying a lot of taxes, then start parking the money into some of these properties, start holding them long term, then build it that way. But I think there's always like a balancing act.
Well, I think like, even for a guy like me, I've learned to just follow what I intuitively believe. And it's always served me pretty well. It's like when I was playing baseball, people are like, dude, you got to like go figure out how to make more money. And I'm like, nah, dude, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Like once my career's over, it's over. I'll make money. I'll figure it out. Like I don't need to make it today. And, I start flipping and people think I'm crazy because I max out all my credit cards and I get these high interest loans and I'm buying homes in the ghetto. And literally my mom, who was a realtor, was like, don't do that. I'd go to meetups and people are like, dude, don't do that. Like you got to buy in the nice areas. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I'm looking at the numbers. It checks out to me. And so, I did it. And truthfully, I was probably one of the first guys here in Vegas to really take advantage of that. And then other people started copying, but that's a whole nother story. Then, the social media thing, I'm starting TikTok and all this stuff and just doing it. And people are like, shouldn't you be out closing deals? Shouldn't you be? I'm like, I don't know. I think this thing's going to be pretty big. And so it's like, I've kind of always just gone against conventional wisdom and everything I've done, because if it makes sense to me and nobody can give me a good reason why my logic, doesn't make sense, then I'm just going to do it.